Welcome back to Disruptive Doctors GB series podcast. I'm Dr. Selena, and this is part 2 of our 3-episode on insurance with Japhire, founder of Dr. Shield. Now, today we're talking about doctors who decide to take a leap in starting their own clinics. Now, it's exciting, but it's also risky if you don't understand what you're signing up for. So, should you be a person in charge? What if something goes wrong? And are you personally liable? So, let's clear up the confusion. Hi, Japhire.
Hi, Dr. Selena.
So maybe let's start. What does it mean to be a person in charge of a clinic?
The license is issued based on a person who's qualified to run the clinic. So there could be shareholders who may not be doctors. So to avoid the problems of allowing someone completely away from the medical industry to run a clinic, the government has mandated that there should be a PIC, a person in charge who's capable of running the clinic. And that's how this PIC concept comes about.
Okay, the last episode we spoke about liability. If it's a clinic and it's a St. Japhire, your liability is limited. But there are also clinics that run as an enterprise. So can you tell the difference between these two?
Yeah. So a clinic can be either a St. Japhire, which means is limited liability, or it can be a partnership and a sole proprietorship. In a partnership and a sole proprietorship, the limits of loss can be unlimited, which means anyone who's going after the sole proprietorship or the partnership can go after the person who owns it. And it can be unlimited loss. But a private limited is a safer entity whereby the losses can be kept to the value of what's in the clinic. So
Okay,
that's the key difference between these two.
So it means that if this clinic was a St. Japhire and it got sued, their personal cars, their houses, all that will be untouched.
Yes.
But if it's a sole proprietorship, all that can be taken away.
Yes. They can go after their personal assets, technically.
Wow. Okay. So what are the responsibilities of the person in charge of a clinic?
The PIC has responsibility of following the regulation with regards to clinic management, which is, I think, part of a particular law given by the Ministry of Health. Mainly, when it comes to legal cases, they would be representing the clinic. So that is their biggest responsibility. When it comes to governance, when it comes to regulation, when it comes to patient management, when it comes to court case, they will always be the representative, not the shareholders. So that's quite a big responsibility for a PIC.
So that means that, say, you owned a clinic, but you hired a doctor, and that doctor was the PIC. If anything should happen with legal wise, the doctor is the one that needs to go to court. Is that what you mean?
The PIC represents the shareholders. The PIC is basically the face of the entire case proceedings.
Okay, let's talk about indemnity. Clinic indemnity versus personal medical indemnity. What's the difference?
A clinic is a separate legal entity. The doctors are separate legal entity, not legal entity. They are separate entities, right? So a lot of times the clinic owners, they feel that the doctors would be sued for any negligence, but they forget that the clinics themselves need to buy an indemnity insurance and themselves have to appoint a lawyer when there's a problem. They always forget it. For example, I'll tell you this. A lot of doctors own their clinic. So they could be owning a St. Japhire and they could be the only resident doctor. But in actual life, patient or a plaintiff can sue the clinic and the doctor. And in many scenarios, the doctor will come back and say, hey, I bought my insurance. This is my clinic. My lawyer can represent both the entities. Why must I get another lawyer for the clinic? And the plaintiff will tell you, no, it's two different entities. And we cannot have the same lawyer. You get another lawyer for your clinic. Yeah, we have had many scenarios where they have to cough out 50, 70,000 extra for the defense representative of the clinic. So, yep, it's a very, very unspoken issue in Malaysia where the clinic owners do not know that they need to buy indemnity insurance for the clinic because the clinic is a separate entity.
What if it's a sole proprietorship?
So this is a tricky one. So let's say if you have a locum and you are a resident doctor, you are a sole proprietor, but you have got a locum doctor also. And a patient comes in and the patient was only seen by the locum doctor, not by you. And in this case, a plaintiff can sue the clinic, which is although a sole proprietorship, they can sue the clinic because they came to the clinic and then they saw this locum doctor. In this situation, the sole proprietor doctor who sits in the same clinic but did not see the patient will think that his insurance will stand in for a sole proprietor clinic, but it will not be the same. You cannot. So even in this situation, a sole proprietorship should have their own indemnity insurance. So let me put it this way. If there's a sole proprietorship, there's only one doctor, the owner, and there's no locum, this case is fine. They don't need to buy a indemnity insurance for the clinic. Except for this scenario, every other clinic setup must buy clinic indemnity. So even if you're a sole proprietor or a partner, if you have locum doctors, you must buy an indemnity insurance for clinic.
So, what does the clinic indemnity covers?
Regulators' inquiries and defense costs and damages.
So, if they okay, so that means they have to buy two different indemnities. Of course, the first thing that a doctor would think is, oh my God, it's double the cost. Like two insurance.
That's one way of looking at it, but the other way of looking at it is you are an owner of a clinic, you need to protect your clinic. You are a doctor as a professional, you need to protect your profession. It's two different things.
I think that's a good way to put it into perspective because, like you mentioned earlier, a lot of doctors usually own their clinic. So they would assume the clinic is them and they are the clinic.
Yeah, they tend to feel so. But this is where a lot of problems do appear, and sometimes it can be quite traumatic for the doctors. So there was this particular case where the clinic had to clinic was represented by a lawyer, and the doctor and the counterpart, another doctor, was represented by B and C lawyers against plaintiff, right? And the insurance company for A was different, B and C was different. So you can imagine all of them at their own agenda. When it comes to a negotiation, A, B, and C, although the B doctor who owns everything feels like he is the beneficiary for everything, but no, the insurance company that represented the clinic will say, why should I pay from my portion when the doctor is at mistake? I'm representing the clinic, and I think the clinic did not do any mistake. So this could be a very interesting situation where this particular doctor who owns the clinic, just because it was represented by another insurance company, another lawyer, you may feel like, hey, you're shooting me. So it can be quite tricky. This is, of course, a different topic for another day, but yeah. So
So should
uh,
they be buying the same from the same insurance then? Does it
it helps.
change
It does help.
anything?
Yeah, it does help.
How does it help?
So there will be less contention, because if the clinic and the doctor are from the same insurance company, they know that it's a left pocket to right pocket, right? Compared to two different insurance companies who have more motivation to say, no, this is not my problem, it's your problem.
Okay. So is there
But actually,
anything
yeah,
sorry, go on.
so you're right with that. But more importantly, I think the very fact that the clinic is represented by another insurance company, another lawyer against the own owner who's a doctor, can be actually quite surprising and traumatic.
Has
I've
that
seen this a couple of
happened
times.
a lot?
Yes, a couple of times. Yeah.
So then how do they resolve this?
Goes to the court sometimes. Sometimes goes to negotiation. Most of the time, we hope it settles in out of court settlement. We have been quite lucky because we are very pro mediation, so we have been quite lucky with claim settlement so far. Yeah, but some do go to the court.
Okay, so from Dr. Shield, like you've been involved in this a lot. Like, can you share any other like landmark case study that shows why doctors should be buying two kinds of insurance? I mean, two like clinic and also personal, and if they did it using the same company, it would be beneficial for them.
I don't think we have landmark cases that we can share, but actually it's just how do you say it? It's lack of a better word. It's common understanding that an insurance company representing two parties will be more amicable, right? Compared to two different insurance companies, because both would be more tuned to reducing their cost. Yeah, there is something called NCI, Notice of Contribution Indemnity, which is a separate case. When a plaintiff sues the hospital and the doctor, usually the hospital and the doctor will have the NCI matter going in between them to determine who's actually liable, to what proportion they are liable. So when it's a same insurance company which represents both of them, this contention may be much lesser compared to having two different parties. That is something worth taking note of.
Okay, so how much like should the clinic be insured for?
Interesting. So if a matter goes to the court, it can take 3 to 5 years. And like the Columbia Asia case, which took 14 years, right? I'm sure most of them would be aware of this case. The doctor insured herself for 1 million 14 years ago. I think it's a wonderful attempt. But 14 years later, the final verdict was somewhere around 5.2 mil. I think so, right? So it's really about when the case comes to the final verdict, what is the trend, what is the right amount, what is the medical inflation cost, and you need to be prepared for a verdict that is 3 to 5 years later when you're planning what to buy today.
Can you share about the case? I mean, not maybe for our audience who do not know of that case. Perhaps you can shed some light to that one.
No, I'm not really very qualified to talk about it. It's just that I read about it. I was involved in certain forum regarding the case, but all I know was the case came for the Court of Appeal, I think, and it was revised, and the final verdict was about 5.2. It took a long time, right, for that settlement, and I think, if I'm not wrong, yeah, that's all I remember
What
now.
was
Yeah.
the issue? Like, was it a loss? Like, what was the lawsuit about?
Oh, I can't remember the specifics now. Yeah. Yeah, I would sound very dumb if I actually talk more about it.
Okay, so is there anything else regarding like clinic indemnity that's really important that doctors should know about this that we've not spoken about?
Yes, I think another important point about clinic indemnity is a lot of doctors get confused between clinic indemnity and clinic property. So when we talk about clinic indemnity insurance, they actually mistaken it to think that they are protecting against public liability, fire, flood against their property. So we tell them, no, no, this is two different things. Yeah. The clinic property insurance is something which is very mature idea. A lot of clinic owners know that they have to protect against fire, flood, lightning, and things like that. Right? And they also know that when patients come to their place and they fall down because of maybe a broken chair or some slippery floor, they have to be protected against public liability. This is an idea that a lot of them are familiar with. It's property insurance. But when you talk about clinic indemnity insurance, which is a new concept relatively, they always get confused. They think we're talking about clinic property. So no, just want to clarify. Clinic property protects against your property, cleans your property against risk such as fire, flood. Clinic indemnity protects your clinic against medical negligence.
So,
Yeah.
like, what sort of can you list down more about this clinic indemnity? Like, what are the things that it covers for?
So it covers against negligence, the same way it covers against professional indemnity. It is a professional indemnity policy that covers against negligence. Maybe we should just explain a bit on what are the factors contributing to negligence. So number one, there must be a duty that has been established to be owing to the patient, right? That's one. Number two, there must have been some damage caused to the patient. Number three, there must have been a proof that that there was a damage. Sorry, what am I talking about? Number one, let me just repeat this, right? Number one, there must be duty owing to the patient. Number two, there must have been a negligence. Okay, there must have been proof that there has been negligence. Number three, there must have been damage. So if there was no damage, but negligence alone, there is also nothing to claim. And then if there was no duty owed by the doctor to the patient, there's also no case to start with. So these three things must happen at the same time. Then you're talking about negligence. There's a potential claim against negligence. Then you are relying on your professional indemnity insurance to pay for your defense lawyer and for the damages. Same thing when the uh, clinic owes a duty to a patient and there is a negligence evidence and there's been some damage caused, the clinic can be liable.
But this is a very the concept is really good because you're saying that the clinic on its own is a separate entity, so to speak, like what you mentioned. And the clinic itself owes a duty to the patient
Yes, it does.
and is separate from doctors who are performing all of this. They also have a duty to perform for the patients.
Yes, yes. I just thought there's another topic to actually explain. Nah, it's okay. I just slipped my mind.
Okay. Is there anything else we have not touched on with regards to clinic indemnity?
Yes, I remember now.
Yes.
A lot of doctor owners, they think their locums are covered. Okay. I'm sure you must have heard about this. A lot of clinic owners tell me, my locums are covered anyway. Locums are covered. Vicarious liability. Locums are covered. I say, yes, 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 yes. Okay, let's get this right. Locums are covered. What does it mean? For a clinic owner who has insured his clinic, when the clinic is being sued for the negligence caused by the locums, the clinic owners are okay. So let me repeat this. The clinic owners who are insured are covered against the negligence caused by the locums to their patients. That's what clinic indemnity covers for the clinic owners. But
I
it
see.
doesn't mean the locums are covered. The locums are on their own.
So the locum have to cover themselves as well.
Absolutely. And to make things even more clearer, the government has already said if you are doing locum in the private sector, you must buy your indemnity insurance. So they cannot rely on the clinic coverage to protect locums. Basically, the clinic indemnity insurance is not going to appoint a lawyer for locums. No, they only appoint lawyers to protect themselves. So yes, they are covered for themselves, not for locums.
Is it compulsory, clinic indemnity?
No, unfortunately, no. The concept is still quite new.
Okay, so what does Dr. Shield provides for doctors who have their own clinic, like the sort of indemnity that you have for clinics?
So we are quite proud about introducing clinic indemnity as one of the first few in the market. About 6 years ago, what we did is we actually allowed for doctors who own clinics to buy their personal indemnity and then bundle with the clinic. So especially if they are PIC, they can go on our website, buy their individual indemnity, and then add on the clinic indemnity. It's at, if I'm not wrong, it's at 40% of the market cost. A clinic indemnity is priced very, very competitively in Dr. Shield platform. That's what we have been offering. We also have started offering clinic indemnity as a standalone for doctors who feel that they have got amazing coverage somewhere else and they just want to buy their clinic indemnity, because if they go to the insurance companies and ask for clinic indemnity, it's going to cost like 2-3 times more than what we're offering on our website.
Okay, thank you, Japhire, for guiding us through this legal maze. So, guys, be sure to protect your clinic and protect yourself. To learn more about Dr. Shield, click the link below. And also, Dr. Shield will be at our Disruptive Doctors Conference and exhibition this 20th and 21st of September in Sime Darby Convention Center. So, be sure to come and check them out. And in our next episode, we'll go even deeper to talk about the medical legal system itself and how it affects doctors. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Serena. Thank you.
Join Disruptive Doctors. Oh, Disruptive Doctors. Impact.